legacy alive. Welcome to the stage, Martin Luther King III.
Good morning, Vancouver. I want you to repeat these words after me. Are we ready? Spread the word. Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now let's say it really fast and like we really mean it. Spread the word. Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now let's say it one resounding final time so that everybody can hear us. Spread the word. Have you heard? All across the nation. We are going to be a great generation. Now give yourselves a hand. It is such a wonderful and humbling experience to be here in Vancouver today with each of you. Because you are the future leaders of our world. This, I believe, is the 5th We Day. Is that right? And I am so thankful that I had the opportunity to connect with Craig and Mark Kielburger. Because what they are doing along with your teachers or educators and each of you is setting the tone to change our world for the better. 50 years ago, sounds like a long time probably, my dad, as you just saw, delivered a message entitled, I Have a Dream. He shared his vision for our nation and the world. And today, 50 years later, we've made great strides, but we're not there yet. Because over 1 billion people in our world do not have clean water. Over 200 million children are enslaved in places around the world. Over 100 million children cannot read or write. But you know what? We can change that. It all begins with an idea. So I want to challenge you in these closing moments that I have, because my dad used to tell us that in life, we must find out what our calling is. And when we find that calling, we must do our jobs well. We must do those jobs so well that the living, the dead, or the unborn could do those jobs no better. He went on to say, even in life, if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, why go on and sweep streets like Michelangelo carved marble. Go on and sweep streets like Beethoven composed music. Go on and sweep streets like Shakespeare wrote poetry. Go on and sweep streets like Raphael painted pictures. Go on and sweep streets so well that all the hosts of the heavens and earth would have to pause and say, here lived a great street sweeper that did his job well. The historian Douglas Mallet captured it another way by saying, well, if you cannot be a pine on the top of the hill, just be a shrub in the valley. But be the best little shrub on the side of the road. Be a bush if you cannot be a tree. If you cannot be a highway, just be a trail. If you cannot be the sun, just be a star. For it isn't by size that you win or you fail. You've just got to be the best of what you are. That is what our challenge is. Every generation has its calling. This is about finding out what your calling is. You see, we go to school to master reading, writing. My teachers used to tell me, and arithmetic. Today in our world, some are mastering other. They used to say you got to master the 3 R's. There are some, though, who mastered other R's. The R's are running, rapping, and rhyming. And while it's cool to run, rap, and rhyme, we must also always master reading, writing, and arithmetic. And most importantly, we must, while this is not a beginning for you here in Vancouver, it may be a beginning for some of you as individuals. But guess what? You are poised to change the world. The time is now. It's your calling. Now, I want to do something that gives me a great amount of honor and pleasure. I want us to really stand up and give us a resounding applause for the co-founders of Free the Children, some of the greatest human beings in our world. Mark and Greg Kielburger. You know, if my mom and dad were physically here, they would be a part of this movement. This movement is changing the world. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Mark. And thank each of you throughout Vancouver. And may God continue to bless you always.
We in Vancouver, are you ready to change the world? That energy, that noise you're hearing, that is the power of we, and this is what We Day is all about. Today we celebrate the great heroes who came before any of us were in this room here today, like Martin Luther King Jr. and his 50-year legacy of I Have a Dream. Back then it was a very different world. African Americans were fighting for equal access to education, healthcare, the right to vote. They were met with indifference or worse, hostility, angry mobs, and police violence. And then one person, Reverend King, stood up and took his pulpit, and hundreds of thousands of people joined him for the March on Washington, one of the largest ever rallies for human rights in American history. His words, I have a dream, echoed across the nation and around the world. And today we relive that dream and we celebrate that movement. 250,000 people marched on Washington Square in 1963 because they shared Martin Luther King's dream for equality. United by the same cause, they had the courage to come together. And that's what's happened when you draw strength from a community. A dream shared by many becomes a movement. And we hope they have a huge credit attitude, because today, ladies and gentlemen, is a result of this movement and movements like this throughout history, like the civil rights movement for equality in America, or the movement to get women the right to vote here in Canada. So imagine that it would be 1914, a time where women had very little voice in society. In fact, in 1914, a woman wasn't even legally a person, did not even have full rights and privileges in our very own country. But one woman named Melanie McClung refused to recognize the status quo, and she fought to give women the right to vote in her home province. Organized protests and rallies for 20 years. For 20 years she fought to get women the right to vote. 20 years of sacrifice. Thanks to Nellie McClung, today women indeed have not only a vote but a voice. Thanks to Nellie McClung, we look at those history books and the great movements that have taken place before us. We stand on the shoulders of giants today, those who have continued to advance waves and waves of social change. Every generation faces the opportunity to advance this world just a little bit, to make it a more just and equal place. We Day, are you ready to take your place in history?
one of you.
And the causes that each and every one of you care about right here at home to all around the world.
20,000 voices in one movement. Let's hear all those voices together.
Now here's an amazing part. One movement that so far has raised $37 million for 1,000 different causes to overcome poverty, to fight hunger in our streets, providing clean water and food security around the world.
One movement where young people have already collected 9.6 million community service hours, and to all the math teachers out there, that's 1,000 years! 1,000 years of bake sales, car washes, school dances, and it's incredible! And a whole lot of dress down days.
1,000 years, that is a millennium spent in service. How awesome is that?
And this year alone, you've helped us strengthen our communities by supporting amazing organizations such as
The Vancouver Food Bank,
Big Brothers and Big Sisters,
the YMCA of Greater Vancouver,
Harvest Project,
the Downtown Eastside Women's Shelter,
Give It Up for Coming in the House,
the Boys and Girls Club,
and worked in partnership with the Martin Aboriginal Education Initiative.
and that's not all. Last year you took on the largest youth-led penny drive in Canadian history, and you exceeding everyone's wildest dreams. Last year you collected 140 million pennies, and you took part.
You want to hear something totally crazy?
Those pennies add up in weight to be equal to 76 African elephants.
Or the height of 367 CN towers.
Okay, now here's the craziest part. If you took those pennies, stacked them edge to edge, it would reach the International Space Station. 6 times!
But more importantly, your pennies collected have helped provide clean water for life through Free the Children's Clean Water Initiative.
So you fundraised in solidarity with the amazing Spencer West to support We Walk for Water.
Who walked on his hands all the way from Edmonton to Calgary to support this cause. Way to go, Spencer!
We are a movement.
We are the voice of a generation.
We are We Did!
And here's the cool thing, each of you has a place in this movement. Each of you has a cause, an issue, something that you feel passionate about. It might be bullying, it might be education of girls overseas.
Each of you also has a talent, a spark, a gift, a contribution to bring to this movement. Each and every one of you here today, maybe it's for you it's sports, or maybe for you it's public speaking, or maybe it's drama or visual arts. You can bring those together. Imagine a sporting event like student versus teacher, basketball game, entry fee, a can of food, or imagine creating a Facebook group for a cause you care about, or giving a talk in your own school. There are so many ways to get involved.
And each of you has a story. Like Hannah Payne, give it up for Hannah. Hannah is awesome, she's right here. Hannah, give me some love. Hannah's been working hard and anti-bullying programs in her schools, and now they have members wear pink to address that cause. Hannah, well done.
Thank you, Hannah. We also have with us Connor Madison. Now, Connor organized, where are you, Connor? Give us a wave.
He's right here.
Look right here. The Tulip Coup in his hometown in Gabriella Island to help spread awareness about sustainable agriculture projects. He reached out to support Sierra Leone, West Africa, after the war. Thank you for helping with development in the country.
And ladies and gentlemen, we want to honor some of the quiet heroes who are here today, who have helped all of you along the way.
For the students here, we'd ask all the students to do something pretty amazing to honor our teachers. Now, I'm guessing many of you have had a teacher who has helped you organize a fundraiser or take action. So we want you to stand up if a teacher helped you plan an action, to stand up if a teacher taught you about global citizenship, to stand up if a teacher got you passionate about a cause.
And students, stand up if a teacher brought you here to We Day. Teachers, we love you.
Now we're gonna do something really special.
That was me, Mr. Barbara.
Now we're gonna do a teacher who changed our life. For example, I'm going to say thank you, Mr. Federigoni, who's the grade 7 teacher who let me start Free the Children in my school. And I'm going to say thank you, Mr. Rogers, who's my coach and mentor in high school. So we're all going to say thank you all together in your own teacher's name. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
Thank you, Mr. Parker!
One more time! 1, 2, 3!
Thank you, Mr. Parker!
Thank you to all the teachers here! Teachers are the quiet heroes of our world, and schools are the foundations on which we build our future. And this year we're launching the Year of Education, the power of education, to change